I'm really glad we went around the room because I'm going to tailor it to what you talked about. And, I'm covering a big subject here in about 45 minutes. So I'm giving a very big overview of it. Okay, good. So I have 10 more minutes than I thought. Well, then I can get really in depth now. Okay, good. So the type of reputation management I do is I do not work with criminals to make them look good. I have a personal code of ethics that I follow in my life. So my job is not to make rip-off people and people who do scummy things in the world and then try to make them look like something they're not. There are people who do that type of reputation management, and that is not me. So as you often have gone around the room and said, you're very discerning in who you work with, so am I. So if a person comes and says, well, I got arrested and I did some things I shouldn't have done in business and, I ripped people off and now I've changed my name and I've moved to another state and I need to handle my reputation. I don't take that client. Reputation management really is talking about the things that you do well and broadly promoting them because you are not appreciated just because you do good things. Would you agree with that? You have to make your good works well known. And you have to take a proactive approach on that. So now we're going to talk about some quotes here. I've compiled some quotes about reputation management from some very reputable people on the subject. So these days, a Google review can shape your business far more than a Google ad. That's from Forbes. Harvard Business Review. Every marketer is aware of the rise of online reviews and other sources of peer-to-peer information. So what are the other sources of peer-to-peer information? So it's not just Yelp reviews, case studies, videos, things like this. But many neglect this trend and market products much as they did a decade ago. We believe that many companies need to dramatically shift their marketing strategies to account for the rising power exerted on future customers by the opinions of existing customers. I get that. The opinions of your existing clientele are going to shape the opinions of your future clientele. Word of mouth is now word of mouse. That's the world we live in. So when people go, well, I get word of mouth, I go, well, it's called word of mouse. You want to really get into the word of mouse world. On the internet, you are what is published. The question is, are you publishing it? Or are you not publishing it? Or, even worse, is somebody else publishing it? So, you want to become your own media corporation, or at least delegate that media to somebody else who's going to do it for you. And I use the word reputation management, but really I prefer the term reputation marketing. It's a more proactive approach. Okay, great saying here. Advertising is saying you're good. PR is getting someone else to say you're good. Reputation management really is public relations. And public relations, by the way, is a very ancient art. It goes back to the Romans, and Thomas Paine in January of 1776 wrote this book called Common Sense. And if you know your history, Thomas Paine's Common Sense really was the congealing force that brought Americans and turned them into this idea of wanting to beat the British. And it was a pamphlet. It was an amazing content marketing and public relations coup. And then Edward Bernays in 1928 wrote a book called Propaganda. And propaganda really brought public relations to the whole new forefront that we now know today. And Edward Bernays was so powerful with PR that Truman and Eisenhower hired him to sell the Cold War to Americans. And this is where propaganda got a bad name, right? In fact, the word propaganda is a negative word to most people. But it was actually developed by the Catholic Church hundreds of years ago to mean to propagate positive information. The Word of God, right? But it got twisted by PR guys and stuff like that. So I diverge. Okay, the goal of public relations or reputation management, this is from Inc. magazine. The point of public relations is to make the public think favorably about the company and its offerings. The goal of advertising is generating sales, while the goal of public relations is generating goodwill. Public relations involves two-way communication, whereas advertising is a one-way communication, between an organization and its public. It requires listening to the constituencies on which an organization depends, as well as analyzing and understanding the attitudes and behaviors of those audiences. The main goals of public relations are to create, maintain, and protect the organization's reputation, enhance its prestige, and present a favorable image. Another major public relations goal is to create goodwill for the organization. This involves such functions as employee relations, stockholder and investor relations, media relations, and community relations. So, if you know the subject of public relations and you understand the subject of online marketing and you put the two together, that's reputation management. So it's more than just, hey, we need to put out some good stuff about me. We actually need to enhance the prestige of what you have accomplished.